Oh, would you believe me if I told you I've never fixed a Nintendo Switch before? I've never even opened one. I've never even had one on my desk. But today, we have. So run the intro and let's show you what's wrong with this one. Now, my stepson's given me this to look at. This is a friend's Nintendo Switch. And at first glance, we look down there and the port is knackered. Now I don't need to get the microscope out for that. You can see that the pins in there are nicely bent up. I think it's too bad on the top. Yeah, just down in there. Focus. Just down in there, you can see all the gold pins are all bent backwards. So hopefully this one is just going to be a port swap. Alright, so hopefully I'm not going to be like my mate Vince and be the switch killer when he started doing these. I've already ordered up the parts. I've got a couple of joysticks as well. I think it was probably about £7-8 for everything. Where's the port? Please be in here. Yeah, there's the port. I'm hoping it's the right one. I'll put in the model number, so it should be. Let's just pop the game out of here. I think he's got an SD in it as well. Right, let's get this opened. Now I have watched Joey Does Tech. I've watched Vince, my mate Vince, do hundreds of these. And I've changed USB ports before. How hard can it be? And we are out. Woohoo! Let's put that to one side. Just clean up the paste before it goes everywhere. Not sure if we can see down in there any better now, but pins are definitely bent up. Now I've just put it in my helping hands so I can hang it over the edge of the desk a bit and heat from the bottom. Let's zoom in and do that. Oh, I've got my gun set to 380. Just going to heat from underneath. Let's turn the airflow up. Just going to wait until that solder goes liquid. I actually whack the temperature up. I'm sure they do it at about 450 or something. Let's go at 430. Lift that up. All looks good underneath, I haven't killed anything. Not turned my soldering iron on yet, like a fool. Let's get some fresh leaded solder in these holes. The leaded solder is going to lower the melting temperature and also help the solder flow. That syringe is getting really empty now. Some of that flux off while we're warm. Bit of IPA as well. Thinking that looks pretty good. So just going to try and put a tiny bit of flux on here now. Try my new tube. Oh dear. Don't want to get too much on there because I don't want it going in the port. Right, so we get ready with our new port. We'll heat from underneath and then we're just going to drop this on. I hope. Just taking my nozzle off so I can heat up a bigger area. That could be it now. Wobbly hands. I'll wiggle that around a bit, make sure it's sitting down nicely. I don't think it is. Why is that not sitting down? How is that looking? Yeah, it wasn't sitting flat because that pin wasn't quite going through. Does that look okay? There's the back of it. Not sure if I've melted that a bit. No, I think that is sitting down flat to the board. I'm going to need the microscope though to check those pins are connected. While it was hot, I should have got rid of that flux. Right, let's get the cheapy old microscope on it, press record. And are these pins stuck down? No, they're not. Nope, nope, nope. This side is. Yeah, I think I mounted a bit of plastic on there as well. Trouble is you can't just solder them ones up because you've got ones underneath, so if you think you've done it wrong now, the pins underneath might not be soldered, so you can't just solder these top ones. So we have to try and go for another reflow, which is probably going to mount that plastic a little bit more. Maybe I should have bought 2 of these. Well, that wasn't my best work, so I went and ordered a load more connectors. Also got some M90T T36 P13 USBs and some BQ chips, just in case. But let's go ahead and change the port again quickly. Try another new one. I think I mounted the plastic on the back of that one too much. And the USB doesn't really go in properly anyway. That doesn't look centered in there anymore. As you can see, that plastic thing looks lower, it does look in the middle. Right, let's get the hot air station booted up again and let's try and take this off of here. There we go, that's off. There we go, that's off. Straighten that pad back up. I think everything still looks good under there, I haven't destroyed anything. Just checked under the microscope and that all looks good. Right, recording. Right, so I'm just going to take my new port here under the microscope. You can see it in there. Just going to put a little bit of flux on this. Probably a little bit too much, but that'll do. Just going to get some fresh solder on my iron. I'm just going to quickly try and just tin these a bit. Should do. Just try and get that flux off of there because I don't want any flux getting in the port. Bit of IPA on a cotton bud. Hopefully that'll be good. So now the
Pins have got a little bit of solder on there, so that should hopefully help them solder onto the board nicer and quicker. Bit of unleaded, let's get rid of this fluff off of here. Right, that's it, let's try putting this on the board. Right, take two. I'm just going to warm this flux up. Just get rid of it. Clean it up and we'll put some more fresh flux down. Warming it up helps you to remove that flux. I'll just run a little bit more flux on this now to help the solder flow. Right, let's get this warmed up. Wait for the solder to go molten, and then we can just drop our port on, hopefully. And hopefully not melt it this time. There we go, that's sat down this time. Just going to hold that down, wait for the solder to solidify. And hopefully this is going to be better than my first attempt. Just a cotton bud while we're still warm. It's not that warm, I'll let it cool down too much. Let's try and get rid of that flux. Right, I'm just going to get that under the microscope, see if I've got any loose pins this time. That one's loose. Trying to get rid of all the hairs from the cotton buds. I'll have to use a toothbrush. That one's loose. Yeah, they're all loose. Now I'm just going to try taking this off and putting it back one more time. Resolder the pins. I'll fast forward it. Get some fresh solder on them pins on the board. Here we go again. It's all good this time, except that pin 4 again. Right, I think I've got them all soldered. Right, I'm hoping I've got them all soldered now. God knows whether the port's any good with all the heating and whatnot. What have we got here? Still not really drawing any amps. Oh, is that flicking up and down a bit? 300 down to 0.03, back down again. It's doing something different than it did last time. Switch the lead round. No, and that's what it was doing last time. 0.0014. The amps seem to definitely be jumping up and jumping back down again. I'm going to put it in the board and see what happens. I'm only on 5 volts. I've not got a 15 volt charger. I'm going to put this in there, back in the housing, and see what happens. See if it does anything differently. Actually, let's just add the let's just put the battery onto here. Plug the battery in, see if that makes any difference to what we get on the charging display. I don't think the battery's charging. It's flickering up and going back down again. It's different. It is slightly different than what it was doing before. That's what it was doing before, just stuck on 0.14. 0.0014 rather. The battery was totally dead before. 0 volts, but I'm now getting 2.57 volts in there. So is that actually charging now? This voltage is going up and down. It's like it's turning on and off. Let me bring the multimeter in here. Right, so before on the battery, I was getting nothing. It's now saying 2.57 volts. We've got 5 volts on our fuse there. This inductor coil is up and down, 1.6. Going back down. What we got on this capacitor up here? Got 2.57 on that capacitor up there. 2.59, 2.58. That's better than what before. It's going down. Is it going up and down? I don't know whether that's slowly charging or not. But looking at the voltage, it is like it's... Look at the voltage on here. It's like it's starting up and stopping again. Get a waveform on there. The orange one is the voltage. It looks like the voltage is going up, cutting down, going up, cutting down, yeah. .2 volts, that's jumping up. It's going up now, it's 2.74. Getting more amps in there, 0.2, because the battery was totally dead. The battery was reading 0, but now it's actually drawing 1 watt and 0.22 amps. Maybe I have fixed this. Right, let me get this back in this housing. Actually, is that battery showing anything now that I've taken it out? Or taken the charger off? Is it sprung back to life? 2.7 volts. It was reading absolute 0 before, so I think that's been kicked back into life. So something new is happening. Right. Now I'm going to get back in the housing. Right, this should be back together enough to test. Let's get my little amp meter in here. Right, let's flip it over. Let's see if we get anything on the screen. Ready? Oh, keeping my fingers crossed here. Nothing on the screen. Damn. Oh, it jumped up then. Oh, just had a battery symbol. Try it around the other way. Oh, yep, I have a battery symbol. Charging jumped up. Let me just try that back round the other way again. A little wiggle and it's give it a little wiggle and it came on. Wonder if that's just flux in the USB port. I'm just going to leave that on charge and see what happens. It's going to take forever because it's not a 15 volt charger, but we got our screen on. Yeah, actually I'm going to finish putting it back together. I'll finish it, putting it back together, put some new thermal paste on there, and yeah, hopefully we are done with this. And there we go, that's it all back together. Just going to tip some IPA in my port, just in the top of my lead. I'm going to put it in and out the charger. I'm just going to disconnect from there. It won't short anything. IPA is not going to short it. Just going to make sure this port is clean. Just don't want any flux in there. There we go, and that's charger straight away, battery symbol up, so that way's good. Let's pull it out, let's try around the other way now. Light's gone off on that. And again, yeah, the amp's gone up, so it probably was a bit of flux in the port. Give it a wiggle, nothing's cutting out that way. Plug it in, that should jump up. There we go, battery symbol, give it a wiggle, nothing's changing. So it's now a good port. And that's my first ever switch fixed. Also, I've bought a couple of new pads for the Joy-Cons. That one's missing its rubber completely. So I thought for the price of them, I might as well just buy a couple of cheapy ones and stick them in as well. So I'm going to put this to the side and let that carry on charging, which is going to take forever on 4 volts, 5 volts. 0.3 amps. Now, how easy are these to change? Are they tri-wings? Let's actually put them apart as I undo it. Hear the plastic crunching. I think the post has gone on that. I don't want to be undoing everything, so I'm just going to try and do this all in situ. Well, most of the cable's in situ. So that's that one out there. I'm going to have to remove this one because there's a screw under the cable back here. And it's simple as that. Let's get one of these new ones out. I hope they're okay. They're off eBay. Don't want to go through the hole then. Right, got it through the hole. Get this cable lined up and back in. Just there. Put the locking tab down. Just pull this cable back, slide it in. Hoping that is it. Where's that spring come from? Where did that spring come from? Where does that spring sit in there? Does that go on there and sit in that gap there? I'd say yes. I say yes it does. So that's that one done. Clicky clicky fine. Just need to do the same with that one, and then we'll have done and we'll end the video. Right, I've got to change the Joy-Con on there now. I've left this overnight. Just set up charging. I've changed the lead and plugged it into a different socket now. It's still only 5 volts, but I was getting a better reading. It was actually charging at 1.5 amps. Right, let's plug it in again. Right, so it's only drawing 0.8 of an amp now, nearly 4 watts. We've got a battery charging. What are we up to now? 71%. Charging port seems absolutely fine when I turn it around now. Charging every time, so I don't think it's don't think we've got any problems with that, even giving it a wiggle. Both sides seems to be charging fine. Yeah, so I haven't changed this one yet, but I don't think this one is working, so I have to look at that as well. Undo our left one, clicks in fine. Our right one, it's not doing anything. So I think while I have this apart, I'm going to need to look at the rails to see why that's not connecting on that one. Didn't tell me there was a problem with it, but I'm going to have a look at that one now. Alright, so unplug it and take that red one apart. But as you can see, the port is fine. It's all charging up nicely. So I'm just going to quickly take this apart and see why it's not making a connection in there. How do them pins looking down there? I think they're looking okay. It does look like we've got some gunk on here. Let's try giving them a quick clean with some IPA. Let's see if that's just going to make it connect quickly. No. I wonder if I've forgotten to connect something up inside there. Let's turn it off and have a look. Right, so this is the cable over this side. I'm just wondering if that is pushed all the way in. I'm not sure if it is, you know. I'm not sure that is all the way in. I think it is all the way in. Right, let's turn it back on. Yeah, first time. So maybe that cable wasn't quite all the way in. Phew! Just turn it off. We'll put it back together again. Right, just changed the joystick over on that one. Just turn this back on. Everything's all back together. All ready to rock and roll. Red one, connect. Yes. Blue one, connect. Yes. Both connected. Hoorah. All seems to be working. Charging. Charging. Game slot. Recognises it. Let's just make sure this SD card goes in. I think there's a problem with that door. It keeps coming off. SD card. Restart the console. Choose microSD. Okay. Let's restart that. Put this door back on when it's starting up. How do we know if there's an SD card inserted? Yeah, there you go. Reading. Oh, no, don't want to move it. No, cancel. B back. Right, so we can see it's reading the SD card. 118 gig available. There we go. I think we are done. And then we have it. That's my first ever Switch console repair. Hopefully it won't be my last. Although, you know, broken ones are a bit hard to come, well, not hard to come across on eBay, but for a decent price. I mean, the prices on eBay for like spares and repairs and stuff, sometimes I don't see the point, because you could be buying a broken one that's irreparable. Most people on eBay have already looked into them and they'll sell you a bag of bits basically. So I don't usually buy them from eBay, but this was my stepson's, or his new girlfriend's. It's not my stepson's, it's his new girlfriend's child. But whenever you watch these online, Joey Does Tech, my mate Vince Dakota, they make it look so easy. You follow their same processes and it seems to solve the first time. I think I've had 3 attempts on solving this, 2 different ports. I've reused the second port, just like reflowed it. Still had a pin that wasn't stuck down properly. I don't know whether I showed that in the footage. I've tried to cut it down a bit. But yeah, it was like 3 attempts really to get this on, and I still had to solder one of the legs that still wasn't soldered to the board. But yeah, so make it look easy. Sometimes it's not, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I've hoped you learned something. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.